Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news out of Ukraine tonight. And this is big. Ukraine has just confirmed deployment of a weapon system that nobody knew was even in the country. A British air defense platform called the Terrahawk Paladin. And before your eyes glaze over at another weapon system name, understand what this means. This is a drone killer. An advanced, cutting-edge, specifically designed drone elimination system. And it just showed up on the battlefield. Here's why this matters right now tonight. Russia has been pounding Ukraine with drone attacks. Relentless, massive, coordinated drone swarms, hundreds of them, targeting power stations, targeting civilian infrastructure, targeting anything and everything that keeps Ukrainian society functioning. The scale of these attacks has been escalating. Russia just keeps breaking its own records for the number of drones launched in a single night. It's overwhelming. It's deliberate, and it's designed to break Ukraine's ability to defend itself. Until now, the Terrahawk Paladin changes that equation. Let me tell you what we're looking at here. This system was only unveiled to the public in September 2022. Brand new technology, cutting edge. And then in October 2023, the UK government announced a major military aid package for Ukraine, over £100 million. Defense Secretary Grant Shapps stood up and said, "We're giving Ukraine critical air defense systems to protect civilians from Putin's barbaric bombing campaign." And buried in that announcement was a specific mention of the Terrahawk Paladin, a platform, they said, that can track and destroy drones and protect critical national infrastructure. That was October 2023, and then nothing. Silence. No confirmation had ever arrived. No reports of it being used. Defense analysts started wondering if it was even in Ukraine at all. Some thought maybe it got held up, maybe there were problems, maybe the whole thing fell through. Wrong. It's there. It's operational. And we now know exactly which unit is using it. The 150 Shahed Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment of the Ukrainian Air Force, based in Zolotonosha in the Cherokee region, central Ukraine, not far from Kiev. And this unit, the 150 Shahed, they have a record. They have a track record that matters here. Since February 2022, since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, this regiment has been racking up eliminations. 6 Russian aircraft, 13 helicopters, 36 drones, 4 cruise missiles. And that was just in the first 3 months of the war, just between February and May of 2022. Fast forward to today, November 2024. The 150 Shahed has now destroyed 619 targets, hundreds of millions of dollars of Russian military hardware obliterated. And now they have the Terrahawk Paladin in their arsenal. Here's what that means. This system comes from MSI Defense Systems, British company, been around for over a century. They make naval gun systems. They supply the Royal Navy. They supply more than Sorok, international naval forces. They know what they're doing, and the Terrahawk Paladin is their answer to the drone threat. A mobile, flexible, highly advanced counter-drone platform built on decades of weapons engineering experience. Let me break down what this thing actually is, what it can do. At the heart of the system is a 30 chain gun, the Mk44 Bushmaster II made by Northrop Grumman. This is not some small caliber weapon. This is a serious piece of firepower. It fires shells with 50% more destructive power than the original Bushmaster that's been used on Bradley fighting vehicles for decades. It can handle multiple ammunition types, armor-piercing rounds, high-explosive rounds, and here's the key. Programmable airburst rounds specifically designed to destroy small unmanned aircraft, drones. The system carries 200 to 200 Sorok rounds ready to fire. Dual feed system. The crew can switch between different ammunition types on the fly. No manual reloading. Point, shoot, switch, ammo, shoot. Again, engagement range of about 1,25 miles using airburst ammo. Longer ranges for larger targets. But it's not just the gun, it's everything else. The Paladin is equipped with an electro-optical director, multiple sensors, daylight camera, thermal imager, laser rangefinder. It can detect, identify, and lock onto targets day or night, any conditions, anytime. And then there's the radar. 360 coverage. Active electronically scanned array, 4 panels mounted on a mast, giving complete situational awareness in all directions. This radar can track multiple targets simultaneously, real-time data, precise tracking in both azimuth and elevation. And here's where it gets really advanced. Artificial intelligence. The system uses AI-powered video tracking, ballistic computation, semi-autonomous targeting, state-of-the-art optics. This thing can recognize and track threats with minimal human intervention. The fire control system can support up to 16 separate weapon mounts on a single network. You can create a mesh defense network. Multiple Paladins working together. Sensors talking to each other. Coordinated responses. Wide area defense. Each platform can operate independently or as part of a larger integrated system. Flexibility, that's the key word here. And for Ukraine fighting a dynamic, fast-paced, constantly evolving war, flexibility is everything. They need systems that can adapt, systems that can be moved, systems that can fit into their existing defense architecture. The Paladin delivers that. The whole platform, gun, sensors, power systems, fire control, everything weighs under desit tons. It can be mounted on trailers, on NATO standard flat racks, on various vehicle platforms. Ukraine can stick this on whatever trucks they have available and move it wherever they need it. Front lines, critical infrastructure, power plants, military bases, wherever the threat is greatest. And another critical feature, remote operation. The crew doesn't have to be right next to the weapon. They can control it from a safe distance using hardwired or line-of-sight links. If the Russians somehow locate the system and strike it, the operators have a much better chance of surviving. They can evacuate. They can relocate. The weapon might get damaged, but the people live to fight another day. Now here's what the Paladin can actually engage. What it's designed to kill. Nano drones, micro drones, multi-rotor drones, fixed-wing drones, larger tactical UAVs, loitering munitions, cruise missiles, low-flying aircraft, even ground targets like lightly armored vehicles or small watercraft if needed. This is a versatile multi-role system that punches way above its weight class. We need to pause here for just a moment. If you're finding this coverage valuable, if you want to stay informed about what's really happening in this war, make sure to subscribe to this channel. Hit that like button, turn on notifications. We're going to keep bringing you this kind of in-depth analysis and breaking developments as they happen, because this stuff matters. What happens in Ukraine matters, and you deserve to know the truth about what's actually going on over there. Okay, back to the story, because here's where it gets really interesting. We now have visual confirmation. November 18, the 156th Regiment posted a video on Facebook. First recorded deployment of the Terrahawk Paladin with Ukrainian forces. The video shows the system mounted on a NATO flat rack transported by a German-manned Vosumsvosum tactical truck. You can see protective screens around the radar mast and sensors, extra protection against drone attacks and fragmentation damage. The Ukrainians are learning. They're adapting. They're not just using this system, they're modifying it, improving it, making it work for their specific battlefield conditions, and the 156 confirmed it in writing. They posted, the regiment is armed with anti-aircraft missile systems, Buckmoden, KUB, and the latest anti-aircraft artillery. Systems, Terrahawk Paladin. There it is. Official confirmation. It's real. It's deployed. It's operational. Now, let's talk about timing, because timing is everything in war. Right now, at this exact moment, Russia is launching more drone attacks than ever before. They keep setting new records, bigger swarms, more drones, more targets. They're trying to overwhelm Ukrainian air defenses through sheer volume, and it's expensive for Ukraine to defend against. Every interceptor missile costs money. Every engagement depletes stockpiles. Ukraine needs cost-effective solutions. They need systems that can take out cheap Iranian Shahed drones without burning through million-dollar missiles. The Terrahawk Paladin is exactly that solution. 300 ammunition is cheap compared to missiles. The system is mobile, so it can be repositioned to wherever the threat is greatest. It's accurate, so it doesn't waste ammunition, and it's specifically designed for exactly this threat. This is purpose-built technology arriving at exactly the right moment. And it's not alone. The UK has also sent another system called the Raven. According to Ukrainian Air Command West, the Raven has destroyed 24 strike and reconnaissance drones, 3 KH-50 Sat-9 missiles, and 1 KH Sto-1 cruise missile. That last one is significant because the Shahed is one of Russia's most advanced cruise missiles. It's expensive, it's sophisticated, and Ukraine just shot it down with a ground-based air defense system that was primarily designed for drones. The commander of the Raven unit said they're not afraid to develop new ways of using these weapons. They experimented, they pushed the boundaries of what the system could do, they even tried using it against a Russian Su-27 fighter jet. They fired at it over occupied territory. They don't know if they hit it, but the Russian pilot definitely knew something just came at him. And according to the Ukrainian commander, Russian planes started appearing much less often in that area. After that engagement, mission accomplished. This is what effective military aid looks like. This is what happens when Ukraine's allies provide not just weapons, but the right weapons. Systems specifically designed for the threats Ukraine is actually facing. Not generic military equipment, but targeted capabilities that address real battlefield needs. The United Kingdom has been one of Ukraine's strongest supporters, one of the most consistent, one of the most generous. They were training Ukrainian forces before the invasion. They were supplying weapons when others hesitated. They've provided intelligence, equipment, training, and unwavering political support. The Terrahawk Paladin and the Raven are just the latest examples, but other nations need to follow that example. Other NATO countries need to look at what the UK is doing and ask themselves, what can we provide? What capabilities does Ukraine need that we can supply? What systems do we have that could make a difference? Because here's the bottom line. Ukraine is not just defending itself. Ukraine is defending the principle that borders matter, that sovereignty matters, that international law matters, that a larger country cannot simply invade a smaller neighbor and erase it from the map. Every day Ukraine holds out. Every Russian attack that gets stopped, every Russian aircraft or drone or missile that gets shot down, that's a victory not just for Ukraine, but for the entire rules-based international order that has kept relative peace in Europe for voice-indecent years. The Terrahawk Paladin matters. The Raven matters. These systems matter not because of what they are, but because of what they represent. They represent commitment. They represent solidarity. They represent the determination of democratic nations to stand together against authoritarian aggression. Russia thought this war would be over in days. They thought Kiev would fall in 72 hours. They thought Ukraine would collapse. They were wrong. And systems like the Terrahawk Paladin are part of the reason why they were wrong. Because Ukraine's allies stepped up. Because technology matters. Because innovation matters. Because when free societies work together, they can accomplish remarkable things. Tonight, somewhere in central Ukraine, the 156th Anti-Aircraft Missile Regiment is standing watch. They're operating their Buk systems, their KUB systems, and now their Terrahawk Paladin. They're scanning the skies, they're tracking threats, and when Russian drones come, when those swarms appear on radar, they're ready. That's the news tonight. That's what you need to know. The war continues, the defense continues, and Ukraine just got a little bit stronger. Stay with us for continuing coverage.